Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the What Do I Know podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Davis. Today I have my man, steady, one and only James Jackson, back in effect. What's going on, James?
Happy to be back. Finally connected after a while.
After a while, man. But yeah, it's time. You know, we've been waiting for this moment all year. We are getting to the point in the playoffs to where every game matters, every possession matters. Because, you know, in the first round, it's like 1 versus 8. Giannis could go like 2 for 12, and they'll still beat the Pistons by 30. You know what I'm saying? But now, like, if he don't show up, you know, it might be different. So first,
as that is the improvement, but we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah. So first off, I want to start in the East, in the series that has not even been that interesting to me, which is what we just touched on, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. Now, when I first started thinking about this series, you won't believe me, but I had the Celtics winning. As much as I love Giannis, I just don't think if you cannot shoot as a star player, it's going to be hard for your team to win. Boy, was I wrong. What is your take on this series so far?
Well, Boston came out extremely strong. Mm-hmm. Just like put a thud out there, just kind of hit him in the mouth one good time to let him know we here. But then they woke up. Giannis he's a different type of special to me. It's not that he can't shoot, it's that because I think the last game he went, 3 or 4 from 3, or maybe that was game 3 if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was game 2. It was game 2.
It was game 2, right? And he went 3 or 4. He not only will he shoot them, but I think he can fill out the game and know, okay, let me shoot this, let me keep him honest. But he went to the free throw line 22 times. Well, he hit 22 of them.
Man.
That's insane numbers to go to the free throw line. And the fact that he capitalized on it, he might not be as dominant as he was in the regular season,
right,
but he's finding ways to make sure to get his teammates and himself in places to succeed. And that's dangerous. So I had the Celtics in 7-2, actually, believe it or not, because I just believe they were too talented,
right,
and they were clicking at the right time. You know, they swept, of course, Indiana without Victor Oladipo. But after game 1, I said, okay, they kind of putting it together.
They're here. I thought they had arrived. I agree.
Me too. But there's something about that Milwaukee team, man. They fight. You got Middleton. You got Bledsoe, who was kind of showing up. And, you know, Eric Bledsoe has always been like a fringe all-star to me. Like, some years I'll be like, he should just be an all-star.
Yeah.
But some years I'll be like, he should, you know, it's fringe, but when he shows up and he gives them that third option, they're kind of tough to beat because they can space the floor. Yeah, Giannis can't shoot, but everybody else on the team can shoot.
True. And my thing was, oh, no, go ahead.
I was about to say, when he drives and penetrates, if he doesn't get the foul, he doesn't get the dunk, he kicking it out to shooters. And from these last couple games, it looked like they hitting them. So I'm at a little toss-up now because I want to see, you know, Kyrie did not have a good last game. He was
terrible.
Putrid. He was putrid, and I hate that because to me, he's still the best closer in this game. So you gotta close them all. So it's a toss-up for me right now. I'm anxious for this next game to see if.
Which is tonight, by the way.
Right, to see if Boston can make the necessary adjustments.
And to me, it wasn't even about Giannis. It was more about the players around him. And I thought that Malcolm Brogdon going out, it was going to be such a big deal. Because when you have a player who is 50, 40, 90, you can basically count on him to make whatever shot that you need him to make. And I love Malcolm Brogdon's game, and he plays hard, he plays defense, and I thought that was going to be a real blow. But I was wrong, because you have people like Pat Connaughton coming off the bench.
Yes, Pat Connaughton had like 14 assists the other day.
And it's like, I was not expecting all of these contributions. So maybe this Milwaukee team is a lot deeper than I thought it was. But at the same time, I feel like if they get to the next round, if Malcolm Brogdon is still not playing, it's going to be tough. Because to me, the Celtics really don't have a good defensive team. Jason Tatum, first off, let me say this. I don't know where Jason Tatum is. We need to go find him. I don't know where he is.
He in the shuffle. Lost in the shuffle.
This man is not doing anything.
Nope.
Nothing. And I guess I was thinking with him and, like you said, Kyrie and even Gordon Hayward, in the first round, Gordon Hayward played pretty well, even though it was against the Pacers, but it's more about a confidence thing, I think, for him.
Right.
So that when he got to this round, I thought they were just going to be on point, connected. But
and after game one, I thought that even more.
I thought that even more. But I don't know. The defense, and I don't know why they keep putting Al Horford or whoever, Aaron Baines, or what's that dude name on the Celtics? Oh, I can't even think of his name. He's like number 37. I can't even think of his name.
We're going to stick with 37.
Yeah. He comes into the game and he's all big, and then Giannis, he's just dominating him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, man, I don't know what the Celtics can do. I mean, play better offensively, but because defensively, like, I just don't see them stopping Milwaukee at all. But we don't know. We're going to see. Today's game is if you win, then you good. But if you lose, it's over. Because I don't see the Celtics coming back from 3-1.
No, especially not. That 3-1 is very tricky when you got to go back to their house for the closeout game.
Correct.
They trying to put their foot on your neck and end it there.
Yeah, exactly. But let's move on to the other Eastern Conference series. The Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now me, I'm not going to lie. I thought this was either going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. I did not see the 76ers winning just because of the problems that they are having. Joel Embiid's injury. His knee.
He's going the way they go as his knee goes.
And
even with Jimmy Butler having, an excellent series, being the closer, if Joel Embiid is not right, they don't win.
Exactly. And I thought it was funny because during the week, they were coming up with all these different viruses and things that he may have had, but I really don't think any of that stuff is a problem. They just don't want to come out and say it's his knee. And we're going to find out he might have to have surgery. Because when I watch him play, he isn't really moving like the Joel Embiid that we're used to seeing. What game was that where he had 33? Was that game 2?
When did they play? They played yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was game 2. It was game 2 when he had like 33 and 14.
Yeah, and he looked,
he looked really good.
Yeah, but he looked good.
He looked good. But these games, I seen the stat. I think he was like 6 of 43 for the rest of the games.
Yes, it's crazy.
He's struggling. And also, Tobias Harris, where is he?
He disappeared.
And they gave up so much to get him. But at the same time, he's just supposed to be the fourth option. He's not supposed to be what Ben Simmons is. So let's.
I was waiting for you to mention. And I've been high on the 76ers all year.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy Butler's been showing up. Like I said, Tobias Harris is the fourth option. And when Joel is healthy, he's doing his thing. Ben Simmons looks afraid. He looks scared. He looks terrified. And I'm just like, come on, G, you got to give him something.
But I told you that was going to happen.
No, you did. You did.
Because
I didn't want to.
He can't shoot anything. Nothing.
And here's the thing. Here's what makes it worse for me. Your matchup at this time is Kyle Lowry, who is also not showing.
Oh, yeah. Wait. We going to get to the Raptors. We going to get to them, boy. Oh! We going to get to them. Man.
He's not taking no advantage of it. He's not. He looks like a little boy out there sometimes.
Someone asked me, I thought this was hilarious. They was like, would you rather have playoff Ben Simmons or playoff Kyle Lowry? And I just couldn't even answer the question. I just couldn't even answer the question.
Playoff me.
Man, I was...
like myself at that point.
Man, but it's just been bad for the 76ers just because this is what the process was for. This is what the whole thing has been for. And for them to not show up as far as Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid. I mean, even he had one good game, but I wouldn't consider that showing up.
No, it wasn't.
But Jimmy Butler, let me tell you, that man is a dog. He is one of the most clutch players in the NBA. I don't understand why he doesn't get his due. But he is such a good player. And he's really keeping them alive by himself.
Because people like to say he's a locker room cancer. I just think, man, if you can't deal with it, that say more about you than it does about him. Because he out here and he going and he backing it up. They need, like you said, Joel Embiid done had one good game, but the series is tied 2-2. Mm-hmm. And it's only that close because of Jimmy Butler.
Correct. But let's flip over to the Raptors side. And let me say this. Let me start with something positive. Okay? Kawhi Leonard is proven why a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he was considered a top 3 NBA player.
Easy.
To me, besides Kevin Durant, he has been the most outstanding player in the playoffs. I understand Giannis, but I've seen a couple of games where Giannis, he had 30 points on like 7 attempts because of them 22 free throws. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have watched Kawhi literally dominate at every part of the game in this series. Rebounding, defense, shooting the ball, getting to the basket, creating opportunities for others. He is doing everything for his team. When he's healthy, he is easily a top 3 player in the NBA. Easily.
I'm going to take it a whole step further because both me and you know, me being a Mavericks fan, you being a Rockets fan, we saw a lot of him.
Too much.
When he was in this division. And we knew it was there, but he had the injury problems. And then he was resting a lot this year, and I think that might have set him back a little for people not remembering
yeah.
He was.
I agree.
But watching him in this playoffs, you say top 3. You know, I like KD, love KD, all of that.
Uh-huh.
But it's easy for KD to do, even with Steph having a bad game. And
Blasphemy. I feel it. I feel the blasphemy coming.
No, it's easy for him to be able to do, to have the freedom. Kawhi does not have that freedom of that court, especially when his number 2 is not showing up in Kyle Lowry. KD gets a lot of room on that court. Now, he knows how to use it. He's been playing amazing. But to me, Kawhi Leonard has been the best player in these playoffs.
James, I cannot believe you're speaking this blasphemy right now.
Look, I love KD. I got my KD jersey shirt hanging up right now. But think about it. Even with Steph playing horrible, even with Clay, being hampered, they don't have DeMarcus Cousins. You got Iggy and Draymond playing playing their playoff basketball. KD gets a lot of room to maneuver with. After you think about it, Pascal Siakam injured. Kyle Lowry is non-existent. He is not. We should be used to it, and every time I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, he proves me wrong again. Nope, not showing up.
Correct.
Kawhi Leonard, Philly should be up, if not 3-1, they maybe should have swept this series, just based on the teams. Look at it on paper, because nobody's showing up for Kawhi. He is out there, like you said, he's dominating.
Yeah, this is true. This is something I definitely agree with.
And I find it hard to not give it to him right now. I love when
let me tell you something, James. Now, it's not like I said KD is the best player in the NBA. I didn't say that.
No, I got you.
But I did say he is performing the best in these playoffs. Let me tell you why. Actually, I'm not going to tell you why. Because we're going to get to that later. We're going to get to that later. But now let me harp on the negative, which you've already alluded to for the Raptors.
Because I know you had a problem with Kyle Lowry.
For those of you who do not know, I've hated Kyle Lowry since he's been on the Rockets. All right? We're talking about in the early 2000s, okay? Early 2000s. I've hated this dude. I hated him at Villanova. I hate him now. And this is why. When it is time to play, to really play, he gives you nothing. He's shooting 11%. 11% from the three-point line. He's not shooting contested threes, guys. He is shooting wide open threes. 11%. I can shoot 11% with my eyes closed.
I can give you a good 20% now with no stretching.
No stretching, no nothing. I can bank one to get me 11%. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing anything to help Kawhi.
He's doing nothing.
Nothing. And it hurts me to say this because I think DeMar is a good player, but you see the difference between the DeMar-led Raptors and the Kawhi-led Raptors. Because
if it was DeMar, they would have got swept.
They would have got swept. And that just shows you the dominance of Kawhi, that he can win in spite of. Because no one on the bench is playing good. Marc Gasol can't even move out there.
I wanted that to work so much.
So much. But then, I mean, they brought him in just for Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid only has one good game. So they brought in Marc Gasol for a good reason, but it's like he's giving them nothing offensively. Pascal Siakam, I'm going to give him a pass, and this is why. Coming into the playoffs, we didn't expect him to be the number 2 option. Like, that's not what I expected.
Nope, me either.
So, for him to have to now switch his mindset to become the number 2, because obviously they already knew Kyle Lowry wasn't going to do nothing. I'm going to give him a pass, because I don't think he was ready for that jump of the importance of that.
Oh, and now he's injured.
And that really sucks. Because he's a good player.
He is.
Good player. He's, like I said, my pick for most improved. But it's just nothing. No one. Serge Ibaka is absent. Fred VanVleet, who I thought was going to be a big part of the bench, he's not doing much. I don't know how Kawhi is doing this. I just don't know. But let me tell you this right now, man. If Kyle Lowry, which he probably won't, but if Kyle Lowry don't step up, big major, they're going to lose this series. With no Pascal Siakam, they're going to lose this series. No matter what Kawhi does.
Because you only need Joel to have one other good game.
Just
get
one.
them 3 wins. And if Jimmy Butler keep doing what he's doing, they can get him another win.
Because to me, eventually, Tobias Harris, he's going to warm up. Eventually.
Right.
He can't be this broke forever. He can't be.
No.
So.
Is this his first time in the playoffs?
I believe so.
So it just take a little time for him to get there. But like you said, once he get there, then
he's
once
there.
He see, Ben ain't in this, so they're going to need some type of help.
Yeah, and Ben Simmons, man, look, I like Ben Simmons. He's a good player, but you got to get him out of there. You got to trade him.
This is the thing for me. At least with Giannis, like I said, he went 3 or 4 game 2 from 3 because he at least
shooting. Yeah.
Right. Ben don't even attempt. All his attempts are heaves at the end of courts or pass. It's crazy.
I just don't get it, man. Like, if they want to keep Joel Embiid, which is another topic for another day, but with his injury problems, I don't know, man.
It's difficult when your 2 cornerstones, one refuses to shoot and the other one has an injury history that makes you shudder.
Yeah, and they've been they waited so long for this. And it's like, one of them got to go. You can't keep both of them and think you're going to win. There's no way.
And even though it's a different topic for a different day, at the end, I still would try Embiid because maybe you can get that knee to a serviceable level. From what it looks like to me with Ben Simmons, I think he's just scared to shoot, and I don't think he ever gonna.
Never. And that's what I've been telling people. I'm like, his 4th year, 3rd or 4th year. So you telling me he's 4 years in? 4 years in, James. That means he's had 4 years to try to get some kind of mid-range jumper, get better at free throws, and he has not made any progress.
What are you doing in the offseason? What are you doing in the offseason? That's what you're supposed to be doing.
So, get Ben Simmons out of there. Get Ben Simmons out of there. But I still have the Raptors. I think a Raptors Bucks will be more interesting to me.
Yeah, me too.
Than a Raptors Celtics, because I just think Kawhi versus Giannis, because they're gonna hold each other.
Oh God, and it's gonna be.
And I just think that would be must see TV.
Must see.
Because Kawhi is going to lock up, but Giannis getting to that paint. So
he
getting to the paint. So I would love to see that matchup. Love to see that matchup. But let's move on to the West.
Yes.
We're going to start with this Denver and Portland series. Knotted up at 2-2, going back to Denver. Let me say this real quick before I get your take on that series. I love Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is a top 3 guard in this league.
Mm-hmm.
What he did to OKC was just murder.
It was beautiful.
But let me say this about Damian Lillard. A lot of people not going to like this. I just don't think in the playoffs, I just don't think he got it.
No.
Let me tell you why. It's one thing, like when they were playing the Thunder, it's one thing when you got somebody talking trash to you, like that amps you up. That gives you motivation. And Russell Westbrook was his motivation. If you look in this Nugget series, he has not had one good shooting game. Not one. He's reached 30 points only once in this series. Last series, he averaged like 32 or 33 a game. If you make him work defensively, he can't give you anything on offense. Jamal Murray is good. Like, people don't understand. He's young, but he's a good player. I remember watching him in the USA versus the World game, and he just took over. This might have been, 2 or 3 years ago? It's been a while. But he can score. He's going to give you buckets.
He can.
And, what he was doing to Russell Westbrook, going under the screens, not really guarding up on him, you can't do that against him.
Right. You can't.
And Jokic, I don't even know what to say. My man Stephen A. Smith called him a fat tub of lard. And that's what he's like. It's no muscle. Like, he's not fast. He can't jump. But this man out here getting triple doubles, man.
It goes back to the international player thing. Just sound. He's fundamentally sound. He knows where the ball needs to be when it needs to be there. Whether it's the basket. I agree with you, though, on the Dame thing. He was led by pure vitriol with Russ. Mm-hmm. It's just, I got to prove you wrong. You always talking. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to send you on.
And honestly, if you look over his career, that is when he plays best. When he didn't make the All-Star game one year, that is when he played his best in the second part of the season.
I think he led them to that 3 seed that year.
Yeah. So I just, man. And I love him. I do. I think he has more talent than Steph. I know that's your boy, but I think he has more talent than Steph. It goes him, Kyrie, and then whoever else you want to throw in there, I don't care. But he definitely in the top 2 for me. But
I was with you until, Here's my thing about this Denver and Portland series. It's been an enjoyable series. I done watched all 4 games. I'm enjoying it. But at the end, I just believe whoever wins this is losing, regardless who comes out of the.
No question. No question.
And so I think I'm not interested in it. Even the 4 overtime game, I said that, I was like, this is decent. But then I was just like, you're doing all of this to lose to the Rockets or to the Warriors.
But I'm interested in it just because this has probably been the best series as far as not storyline, but as far as actual competition on the floor. Yeah. It's been the closest of series so far.
Yeah. No, I give you that. And like I said, I agree with you on the Dame thing. I think he needs something to fuel him. Whereas, he can give you, probably 23 at night, but it's going to be quiet and you might lose.
Really quiet.
But when he's not making all-star teams, when he's going back at Russ, all of that, then he gives you that walk-off 37-footer, and it's just like, that is amazing.
Because that was just pure hate.
No,
Like, that was just pure hate for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Because I think he was thinking more about it if he was going to wave, but now that he knew he was going to take that shot.
For sure.
He knew that. He came out there on it.
For sure.
And so I do think Denver is going to turn around and win this series. I think they're going to win it in 6 or 7 because for that simple reason. And then, CJ McCullough, it's just like, it's not like he's playing bad, but he gets lost. Like sometimes I'll be like, where's CJ at?
Exactly, and that's the thing about the Blazers is when you look at their style of play and how it's literally based on Dame and CJ, when they go cold, it's kind of like
it's over.
As with Denver, the ball movement, because I mean, Jokic can do other things to where he can help Jamal Murray score, and then you got players coming off the bench. Will Barton is going to score. Paul Millsap is going to score. And it's just like, it's just so many options. But I really don't think Denver is that good. So it's kind of like, I'm torn. Because...
But you know why I think Denver is going to win? Because even though it's not up to the level of KD and Golden State where you can just throw the ball and he can make something happen, with Jokic, his post game is good enough to where if shots are not falling, if things are not working, you can throw it down there.
Yeah, for sure.
He can give you something. Whether it's a pass out or it's a post move. Whereas, like you said, when you running that 2-guard set, that Portland run, if they are on the perimeter and somebody is, not locking them up, but making it difficult for them, and really having, I know Cantor is supposed to be that, but he's been iffy too.
Yeah. Right. So I'm giving, I'm going to give Portland a chance. But I don't know, man. Like, if it gets to a Game 7 at Denver, that's going to be tough.
That's tough.
That's going to be tough. Because them boys, they play great at home.
Oh, yeah. At Mile High, ain't nothing for them. It's for everybody else. So Portland got to hit it in 6 if they want it, to me. Got to hit it in 6.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to have to go with Denver. But we're going to move on to maybe the NBA Finals for some people.
It is. One of this wins it all. Mark my words.
I mean, way to go out on a limb, James.
No, because I have so much. Can I start this one?
Man, please. Go ahead. Start.
Okay, so as you know, big Steph fan, big Warriors, not big Warriors fan, just a Steph fan. But this series, Game 1, I believe those first half calls should have went Houston way. I believe the game would have changed. I believe they should have won that game. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that the last shot of the game, I believe James Harden was seeking contact and he didn't get the call and he wasn't supposed to.
Correct.
I believe he should have just shot the ball.
So let me stop you there.
Okay.
See, because this is where I feel we're gonna have a lot of this is gonna be our longest segment. I can already tell. Let me tell you something, James. So as a shooter, right? Mm-hmm. I want you to think about all the shooters that you've ever seen play before. When you have people landing under you, right, it takes your concentration off of whatever you're doing because you're trying not to get hurt. Now, whether or not we all know during the game 1, there were at least 5 calls where people are running into him, right? We know.
It was like 5 with James Harden. It was like 6 because then you got that one with Chris Paul.
Yeah, but Chris Paul be flopping a lot. So...
But I would have gave him that one.
Yeah, he can have it, but he be flopping. So if I'm a ref, I'm like, I'm not calling that either. But once it comes down to the last shot, you never want the refs to decide a game.
You don't.
I understand that. And this is why I have a problem with James Harden, is because he wants the refs to decide the game for him.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the shot like he should have, he's kicking his legs out, whatever. But then it made me think, if I'm a player and I'm not getting the original calls that I should be getting.
Yep, I know exactly where you're going. And I agree.
What am I going to do to make sure I get those calls from now on? And that's when the flopping comes in.
Yep,
that's when all the exaggeration comes in. Because in his mind, he's thinking, you've missed 5 already. There's no way you're going to miss this one. There's no way.
Everyone with Klay Thompson in the first half was a foul.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing it right and they still coming into me and you're not saying nothing, then yes. The only reason I don't agree with that last one was because the game was on the line. And at that point, I understand where your head is at. Like, if I exaggerated, but I believe he thought so much about the exaggeration.
Yeah, he didn't even focus on the shot.
Right.
I know. I get that. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. But I get, you're right. Because they didn't call any of, and then I think it's so disrespectful when they be during halftime or after the game be like, yeah, we missed them. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. And maybe the players do. I don't want to hear it because they don't do nothing to me now.
And that's another thing about the NBA. I know this is kind of like getting off the Warriors Rockets thing, but why do they publicize the 2-minute report? Because you can't do anything about that.
Nope.
You can't do anything about that.
And contest the results then.
And they're saying they want to be clear with the public about things that they missed or things they should have called. But it's like, okay, we're fans. Like, we understand what's a foul and what's not a foul. So we know what they should have called and what they shouldn't have called. You don't have to publicize it. Yeah, because it does not change the result of the game. What that does is, which is something I didn't agree with they did, how the Rockets went and took all this information of how the Warriors are getting on. That's too much. That's too much for me.
Yeah.
Just focus on the court.
And then that's going to lead into something I got to say, but continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, but when you do things like that, it kind of okays what the Rockets are doing. Because you're telling them that everything that they thought was happening is happening. You know?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie, the Warriors, they get away with a lot of stuff. But I mean, they're the champs, so that's just part of basketball. You know what I'm saying? When you are the star players or when you are the team, you get away with some stuff that other teams wouldn't get away with.
Exactly. And they do. But going back to what you just said about them sending the stuff to the league about last year and the foul, I believe all of that was in their head game too.
Correct.
And that's the reason they lost game two, because it wasn't like the Warriors had this excellent game, but people don't understand how hard it is to take a lead at the beginning of the game and keep that lead until the end.
Right.
Which they never trail in a playoff game. Like, that is hard. It's hard to do regular season, let alone playoff.
Especially against a team that shoots threes like the Rockets do.
Yes, because they can go on a run at any time.
At any time.
So for them, I believe when they went in the game too, they still had all that foul stuff in their head, and they just let the Warriors steal that one as well.
But like you said, though, game 2 really wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
Like,
they played.
It's not as if like they didn't come in, like just getting blown out. They just could never get. I mean, they got it to 3 or 4 at one point.
They got it to 3. Yeah, you're right.
So at least mentally, they were in the game enough to me.
Right.
But it's just they couldn't make the plays. And Chris Paul, I don't know where the fuck he's at. I don't know what he's doing. Now I understand he's getting older. Yada yada yada. I understand he got injury problems. Yada yada yada. I don't want to hear that. I came into the series not expecting him to do much, just because I already knew that he got his contract. He good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he older. He injury prone.
I separate with you on that because I believe that in this series, even though they're down 2-1, and honestly, I do believe it'll be 2-2 after the night. I believe the Warriors will lose tonight. I got the Warriors in 7. When James Harden got raped and he went out the game, they went on a run. When James Harden's on the bench and it's just Chris Paul, they go on a run.
Yeah, we talked about this.
And I was just about to say, I text you about this all the time. When James Harden gets in the game and he slows them down with the stupid ISOs and trying to get switches and going by himself, granted he may hit some of the shots, it stagnates them so much that it gives the Warriors time to just breathe. Because if his players are standing around watching him dribble the ball, that means that their defenders are standing around watching him dribble the ball. And it's slow. The best I've seen Chris Paul play in this series is when James Harden is not in the game.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Did you know that Chris Paul is shooting 27% from three this series. Do you know that his field goal percentage is 36.4%?
That's bad.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. Let me ask you a question now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because in game 2 and 3, so do you sub Chris Early for Austin Rivers, who has been balling in game 2 and 3? I don't know what's gotten into him. I haven't seen this Austin Rivers in a long time.
But I have, though. See? Because he brought this same energy during the season. Defensively, he's been doing a great job. Offensively, he comes in and he gives us buckets.
Yes, man.
I think earlier when he first got to Houston, he was all about give James Harden the ball. But now it's kind of like he plays at his pace. So once he gets the ball, he's going to push. He's going to do that. And that's what we need.
And it's always that group. It's always that group. So maybe I'm thinking when it's Austin Rivers and Chris Paul and James Harden, maybe that's what I'm seeing is that Austin is playing with his pace. Because, like I said, he gets in, he hits shots, and they go on these runs to, either cut the game closer like they did the other night. They won it. So I'm saying, do you? But
it's more. It's not even that. It's more of just the ball movement, like you were saying earlier. Like Chris Paul is willing to swing the ball early.
He is.
But we know James Harden all season he's played one way.
And here's the thing: is that because we've seen James play differently? Is that his philosophy or is that Mike D'Antoni?
Oh, that's easily Mike D'Antoni. But I've already come into because I really don't think Mike D'Antoni is a very good coach. Because he doesn't coach. It's you give James Harden the ball, watch him work,
or you give Steve Nash the ball and watch him work.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I don't see a lot of complex offense like I would like to see. Mike D'Antoni don't even care about defense. So Jeff Bisdelic, which is the defensive coordinator for the Rockets,
get him out of retirement.
And I see him and Mike D'Antoni's kind of like, hey, we're gonna push the pace and okay, let me not say that. Let me not say he's not a good coach. He's not a good playoff coach. When you have to make adjustments, when you have to do things like that, he's not good at that. He's not good at that at all. And to me, man, and it's just and like I love Harden so much. He's my favorite player. But it's like, James, at what point do you see? Because there was a play last game where literally he's isoing with Klay Thompson, and he drives Klay Thompson, and he pulls back, and Klay Thompson takes like 5 feet out of bounds, and James Harden has a mid-range jumper, wide open mid-range jumper. Pre-Mike D'Antoni, he's hitting that easy.
Yes.
But he took 4 steps back.
He did
to shoot a 3.
I want to say Mark Jackson said the same thing. Like, he crossed him, got it out of his way, and he steps back behind the 3. Why?
And it's more of a Mike D'Antoni thing, not a James Harden thing. Because like I said, pre-D'Antoni, James Harden lived in the mids. He lived in the mids.
Right. But according to Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey with the analytics, it's either layups or threes. That's what you go for. And that's, first of all, mid-range and a layup for the same amount of points. I don't care how you
I don't care. And like in order to beat a championship team like the Warriors, you have to shoot those mids because they pressing up on the threes and they're not gonna let you get to the lane. So you have to shoot the mids. Chris Paul shoots the mids because he's one of the best mid-range shooters I've ever seen in the NBA.
Yep, he is.
So why can't James Harden? And it's just. When he shoots 16 threes and he goes 6 of 16, and I'm just like, bro, just take 3 threes away and shoot a couple mids, and I guarantee you we win that game.
Yep.
Guarantee you. You don't have to depend on the refs. You don't have to depend on nothing. It's all you.
Yep.
But enough on the Rockets side. We not gonna act like Steph Curry ain't playing like trash. All right.
I'm here.
Let me tell you something, man. I heard a good point about this morning, and I've been thinking about this ever since KD got there. Now, we all know KD is an animal. We know KD, top 3 player in the NBA, however you want to list him, whatever. When he came to the Warriors, this no longer was Steph's team. on the court. Now, of course, people like us, we're going to say Steph teams because he's been there the longest. If you watch them play, everything goes through KD. Every single thing. And I think I've had a dislocated finger. It doesn't affect your shot that much, especially if it's on your non-shooting hand.
Well, yeah, no, I don't give the dislocated finger, although he does have a bum ankle too, but I'm not making excuses because I have a problem. No, I have a problem with everything he did last game.
Yeah. So, but it's like they're turning Steph Curry into a spot-up shooter, which is
and I hate it.
Not what he is. Now, he can shoot, obviously. I mean, he's the greatest shooter ever. But his primary thing is not standing around and shooting.
His movement. He needs to move, even if it's without the ball.
Needs to move. Because I think that's how he gets his rhythm. And all last game, my man KD bringing the ball up the court, which means the ball is out of Steph's hands, which means he doesn't get the feel of the ball. You know, there's a lot of stuff that plays into the psyche of a shooter. Like Klay Thompson, we know. Catch and shoot, easy money.
He's there.
That's what he does.
Yep.
And he ain't been playing well either. But
he had a bum ankle too.
Yeah,
so.
but I've seen Klay Thompson perform in the playoffs. I have not seen Steph Curry perform to the level that he should. So,
Here's my problem with that.
Okay, go ahead. I can't wait to hear this.
Let me get there. Okay. Granted, let's just go last two finals before I even get to just playoffs. Last finals, he had one bad game and he lost because KD had the game 3. No, he remember he the game before he had hit the 9 or whatever threes. The game 1 of last finals. Remember, he had a good, but KD wasn't efficient in that game, and that's when KD said, okay, I got to be more efficient. But Steph kept on floating that game. And in the last game, you know, they tried to give him the MVP by feeding him early. So he did have a horrible game 3. He only had 9 points. I do remember that. Let's go to the finals before when it was Kyrie and LeBron. Steph almost averaged a triple-double in that finals. Yeah, he did. And then let's go to, let's think. Overtime. The most points ever scored in overtime was Steph in the playoffs coming back against the Trailblazers where he had 18 points in an overtime game for them to win. And that was coming off an injury. Let's go to the one where Andre Iguodala and where he won the MVP. The first 2 games, Steph was trash. I watched it. He was trash. But those last 4 games when Andre started, Steph averaged 26 points. 6 assists on 50% shooting, and I think it was 42% from 3.
Look, that is probably the only finals I'll give you. But he shouldn't have won MVP. Andre Iguodala shouldn't have won MVP. LeBron James should have been MVP. First off, second off, Steph Curry was playing against Matthew Dellavedova.
In that finals, but the other 2 he was playing the one he almost averaged a triple double. That was against Kyrie.
Let me get back to that. In Game 7, where it counts the most, what did Steph Curry do?
I don't know. He got lost, and I give you 2016. I do, but we've had other players who have completely disappeared.
James Harden is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
and even LeBron is one. So, but LeBron came back after that finals against Dallas, and he, won his titles and created his legacy. I believe. Now, I'm not saying he should have won MVP for either of those 2 that Kevin Durant got. Although I think the last one was debatable, but the first one, no, Kevin Durant should have got in. The last one, like I said, debatable. But I do believe after that finals that he had a bad fight. 2016, he did not show up. I do understand it. He was not there. He threw the ball away behind his back. I remember picking up the chair in my room, throwing it because I was like, what are you doing? Don't be fancy. Just win the game. And I remember that. But I believe he has since. Now, he did play horrible game 3. Games 1 and 2, he didn't shoot well, but he did things. Even when he came back, I believe.
Right. And every player can have a bad game. Like, I'm not blaming him for having a bad game, but I am. But the thing is this, James, when you see a player not perform in the playoffs, so just like James Harden, this is perfect. I put James Harden and Steph Curry in the same stratosphere as far as playoff performances. I think if James Harden had Kevin Durant next to him, and Klay Thompson next to him, he can have the luxury of having the games that he had against San Antonio or having the games that he had against the Warriors where he had 13, 14 turnovers. You know what I'm saying?
No, I remember
because
that.
people can, because they can make up for that. But James Harden is the man, right? So no matter what he does, it's going to be on him. Steph Curry has not shown up. Like you said, 2016 finals, yes. Last finals, he played okay. He had 2 finals ago, he had a couple good games. Last year,
he had
he was okay.
bad game.
He was okay. Okay, he had one bad game, but the rest of his games were okay. He didn't have a standout game, and that's
he had the 9 threes. He broke the record. Remember that was last year where he broke the record for threes in the playoff game.
I mean, yeah, I guess, bro, but this is
getting so the norm where he's breaking records and shooting these threes that y'all just like.
It's not the norm. But like I can't count last year because they played against George Hill and J.R. Smith. Like so, I can't count anything that happened last year. The year before that, where Kyrie was giving him the biz, like
he almost averaged a triple double that year.
Yeah, okay. But if I have the ball in my hands too, James, and I'm passing it to Klay Thompson, that's 5 assists. I can pass.
KD give you another.
Yeah, that's 5 more assists. I'm gonna pass to Draymond. He gonna make 1 shot. You know what I'm saying? Like I will give it to him though. Rebounding, I will give it to him. Rebounding, like that is something I did not know that he could be dominant at, but he can really dominate on the boards, which is crazy.
Yeah, what was that game? That game against LA, was it game 1 where he had like 35 and 17?
Yeah, like 15, 16 rebounds. I was like, man.
No, but complete back to the Rockets in them series. I blame him for that game was winnable. Kevin Durant, of course, was going off out of nowhere. Like, cause the first half he was quiet. I was just like, it must not be his night. And out of nowhere, he just started.
My goodness.
And Steph cost him that game.
He put my boy PJ Tucker in that blender. He was like, cross 1, cross 2, cross 3. Oh, it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly. But, okay, yeah. But I feel like any game could have been winnable. Like, the Rockets could have won game 1, and they could have won game 2. You know what I'm saying? And that's why this series is so intriguing to me, because I don't think there's never just going to be a definitive game. Where
I think it's gonna go 7. I really do. That's what I said. I think they're gonna tie it up tonight. I think everybody's gonna win at home. I do have Golden State at 7. I don't think anybody's gonna win on the road. After what the Clippers did to the Warriors on the road, and KD came out.
See, and this is my thing right here. This is my thing because of what the Clippers did to the Warriors. If the Rockets can win tonight, if and only if the Rockets win tonight, I think they can still win. And that's going to be game 5.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same as last year. We're going to be in the same predicament as last year. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Because like you said, what the Clippers did to them at home was crazy.
No, it embarrassed them. And even listening to KD after game 1 of this series say, we don't like losing at home. We didn't like how they punched us in the mouth twice at home.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm thinking it's going to be a home series. But if it was to happen in game 5, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't.
It would not surprise me.
No, it wouldn't.
But that's if and only if we win tonight. Because if we lose tonight, it's done. We're done.
You think so?
We're done. What? We got 2 of
I was thinking about this.
We got 2 of the mentally weak stars in the game.
Right.
And when I say weak, I mean like the result matters, but they just want to hoop. You know what I'm saying? He's not Kobe. They not Jordan. Like, winning's not everything.
Yeah.
Like Russell Westbrook said, he gonna go home. He gonna go home to 2 kids and his wife, and he gonna live a good life. Like, what? Can you imagine Kobe Bryant saying something like that, man?
Kobe gonna be at the gym the next day.
He gonna be at the gym the next day. And I just don't think James Harden has that mentally tough mindset to go on the road after they lost and win. Yeah, and win. Yeah. But I will say this. he has shown me that he's not going to let his playoff demons stop him.
No, because even with Steph giving away the game, he hit some shots right at the
He
end
hit
to make
some
sure
shots.
they kept it.
You're right.
No, he did.
So, if he can turn the corner and do that, we can win this series. Of course, I have Golden State. Like, I would be an idiot to say that one of the best teams ever assembled in the NBA history. Like, I would never, even though the Rockets are my team, I would never say, yeah, we're just going to come out, we're going to beat them. You know what I'm saying? No. They're the champs. So that means, until proven otherwise, they're going to win.
All right.
But
you want to hear what I think? The worst thing I think that happened for Houston was DeMarcus Cousins going down in round one, because I didn't see Draymond and Iggy coming from a mile away. I had finally thought that Iggy needed to hang it up and Draymond had.
But you want to know something though?
What's that?
I think that DeMarcus Cousins, believe it or not, would have actually helped him even more.
I think he would have helped him, but I think Houston was also ready for him. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
you know
it makes sense. But when I look at what's been going on, how we've been getting out rebounded by what's that, McKinney and Jerebko. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and think about it like this: when the Warriors go through stints where they're not scoring, and you can throw the ball down in the post and get an easy bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes a big difference. Like, defensively, no matter what, like, defensively, we're going to attack Steph Curry. Like, whether DeMarcus Cousins is playing, whether he's not playing. I don't think that would have really made a difference for us if he was playing or not. But for them, it makes a huge difference when you can throw the ball in the post. So.
But, like I said, but with him being gone, I think Iggy and Draymond can go back to their normal roles. Right. They've both been playing. But I do think, and this is going to see how it work out, I think Steve Kerr's playing him a lot of minutes. All of his starters, a lot of minutes. Yep. And, hey, that start taking a toll on them balls, especially when you're a rookie.
For sure.
And so he got to start getting something else out of his bench. I don't know where he goes after Iggy, though. Sean Livingston normally, but he ain't been the same.
I told you. They going to Jerebko, boy.
Jerebko. All right, Jonas himself. But no, like I said, I got the Warriors at 7. But I'm kind of leaning with you. The Warriors take this one tonight. I can see it ending in 5. Yeah. I can see it.
And that's the scary. Yeah, that's the scary part for me, because this is supposed to be the NBA Finals, and I don't think any other series after this is going to be close with the Warriors.
Right.
I honestly don't see it, unless the Bucks somehow, because the Bucks been giving them problems.
You're talking about Kawhi and Giannis. I would love to see 7K for KD and Giannis.
You think so?
I would love to. Yes, because like you said, they not gonna stop Giannis. But we see as a fact, you want to talk about walking bucket? KD gets what he wants. Now, Giannis is a little longer, but I don't think it'll bother KD. I just don't think nothing bothers him at this point. At this point, what do you say? You know who I am?
I mean, that could be very enticing. That could be very enticing. But I just don't know, man. Like, when you got role players like going that deep, I don't know.
No, they got a lot. That's the thing. Milwaukee goes very deep.
That's true.
Does not.
That's true.
Especially by that time, he might not be 100%, but they'll probably have brought him back because they're thinking he might come back this series, if not next.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, we just gonna have to see, because like you said earlier, I think the minutes they're gonna add up eventually.
No, they're gonna add up so much.
But if they finish the Rockets in 5, then they'll be good.
Take it a break.
They'll be good, because then they're gonna sweep whoever they play out of the and Portland.
I don't see Portland. Maybe gentlemen. Maybe if it's Denver, maybe get a gentleman sweep because you're up there.
I don't see
Denver.
Nope.
He said
nope. I don't see Denver getting the game. Not even close.
Oh, now, I know you've talked about this and everything, but I have to ask you, who is the biggest Magic fan I know, how did you feel when he stepped down?
So I think people need to understand that Magic, the player, is one thing, and Magic, the GM or whatever is president. This was president of basketball is another thing.
Right.
It's one thing to want to be the lore, to want to be the face of the franchise, which is what I think Magic still wanted to do instead of, boots to the ground, blue collar working.
Yeah, going to scout in other countries at colleges. And I don't think he was about that.
I don't think that's what he wanted to do. But I also think something happened because...
Oh, I have a theory about that.
The way that he left...
Yep.
Like, I have no problem with him leaving. It's just the way that he left. Something's going on.
I don't even have a problem with the way he left, and that's due to my theory. I believe that, yes, he did not want to be boots to ground, scouting, doing all of that. But I also believe that they were not trying to give him
power.
Type of power.
Correct.
I believe that Jeannie Buss, like, look at it now. Why do you have the wife of Kurt Rambis that's helping you run things? What does she do? And then you got Rob Pelinka, who was a Kobe guy, who was also a Jeannie guy. And I believe that if Luke Walton hadn't quit the Lakers job, they were not going to fire him. And I believe that's why Magic was like, look, if you don't want me doing nothing, then I can just go do nothing with my wife. All that over here. I ain't got to be here. You wasting my time. I just believe they wasn't giving him the power that I feel he deserved. He's Magic.
Correct.
He is Magic.
Correct. I agree with that because I can kind of see, like, the Luke Walton thing. I'll never understand because I don't see a good coach in Luke Walton. I mean, maybe that's just me. Like, I haven't seen a place that he's been to where he has been why the players have gotten better. Now,
and I think people get confused, just like they did with Alvin Gentry, because Steve Kerr, and I think Alvin Gentry is a decent coach, but because Steve Kerr gets hurt, he had the back problem, and so he's out, and you see Golden State go on this run of 30-some games, or 27 games in a row, start 35-3 and all kind of stuff like that. They think, no, I can roll a ball out there. As the coach.
But then again, for me, James, like, I might get crucified for saying this, but I don't think Steve Kerr is a good coach either. I feel like if it wasn't for Mark Jackson laying down that foundation, because he was the first person to tell us. Now, I believed him when he said it, but a lot of people didn't believe him. They might be the best shooting backcourt. Because I watched Clay in college at Washington State.
At Washington, right, yes.
And he was in fuego. And I remember telling you, I was like, bro, watch out for this dude. This dude is going to be nice. He going to be nice.
Here's my thing, why I agree with you so much. I don't believe Steve Kerr is the best coach either. I believe he just let the reins go. That Mark might have held him a little time. But he just said, you know what? I'll let the reins go. Y'all do y'all.
Exactly.
Every time a coaching vacancy comes up, I scream at the TV. When they be naming off his name, I scream at the TV, Mark Jackson. Why is no one trying? Now, he might not want to leave ESPN, but I'm sure if you go, Mark Jackson is an excellent coach. People forget the series versus the Spurs, where they gave the Spurs that scare that year, that the Spurs went on to beat Miami in like 5. Remember, the only time they were challenged in that whole
was by the Warriors. I remember.
By Mark Jackson.
When was that? That was 2013. 2013.
Right, and they went to like 6. I mean, Mark Jackson was the one that believed in. Remember, he set David Lee to start Draymond Green. Like, obviously, he has that mind. And I don't understand why people are not throwing money.
Because I think it's more of like you said, he hangs on too tight to the reins, and with players these days, you can't really do that. Like, you can't really implement the way you want to coach without getting,
And Because here's my thing. I always thought it was disrespectful in 2015 that they won that title. He was in the building calling the game, and they did not acknowledge him. I felt that was so disrespectful. Love Steve Kerr, don't have a problem with him. Love the team. But at that point, they should have acknowledged Mark Jackson.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think.
But I'm just saying.
Like
he created that team.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, he doesn't really care who gets the credit. You know what I'm saying? We know that.
You're right.
We know that. So.
Yep.
But yeah, man,
I don't know what's going on over there in Los Angeles.
It's something fishy about this situation, and I think it's even more than what you're talking about as far as the power. I think it's more than that. It has to be. Because you just hired him.
Right. What Chuck say on Inside the NBA, it's all right till the book come out. I'm just waiting for somebody's book to drop to see. Because you're right. Like, it's so much deeper than any of us know.
Because there's no way he left just because they wouldn't let him fire Luke Walton. Like, I just don't believe that. Because no matter what, like, LeBron's going to get his way. Because he's...
Right.
She don't want to say he's the franchise, but she's going to do whatever she can to keep him there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I believe she's a horrible owner. I'm sorry. I know it's a woman. We're not supposed to say that. So if I offend anybody,
Why are we not supposed to say that?
You know how people are.
They
but
think
she's a horrible owner.
Women can't be horrible owners?
They can.
They sure can. They sure can.
She's a bad owner. I'm sorry. I thought it was her brother for the longest, but maybe it was both of them.
He was bad.
He was bad. No,
he was bad.
He was real bad. But she proven that she wasn't too much far off of his bad. Why? I don't get the Linda Rampus thing. Why is Linda Rampus helping you? They say she's been sitting in meetings and stuff. I was like, what?
I don't know. Maybe she was doing stuff, and I don't know, bro.
I don't even trust Kurt Rampus that much, and he played.
And he played. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's getting ready to sell the team. I don't know.
That could be a strong possibility.
I don't know. But
we'll find out when free agency starts. There's going to be a lot coming out when free agency starts.
Yeah, and free agency is going to be interesting. You seen that? What they said about Klay Thompson?
Yes, I did see that. I saw that today.
If the Warriors don't offer him the max, he out.
They're going to because I think everybody, the worst kept secret in the NBA, KD is walking. I don't care what nobody says.
You think so?
I think so. And I don't think it's gonna be no ill will. He gonna wish him the best. They gonna wish him the best. But we know KD hears everything, and he knows that people are saying you need your own team.
Right. But is that worth giving up championships for though? Because what he's trying to do, honestly, he's trying to pass LeBron, but he can't pass LeBron. Like, I don't care what nobody says. He's not going to be able to pass LeBron. LeBron has done too much in his time. Yeah, right. He's done too much for KD to even get close.
I'm going to be a homer right here. To me, if you ask me, Dirk ring mean more to both the KD's rings to me.
Oh, no question.
Yeah,
no
Dirk
question.
So much more to get his ring, and so I do think that's why he leaves, though. But I do think if he leaves, people talk.
Yeah, but then again, you might be right though, because just how we're talking about it right now, he does hear that. You know what I'm saying? He does hear like, oh yeah, KD, that don't mean nothing. He went to a 73-win team, which I mean, yeah.
They lost the 9 in the finals. They still were 73 wins.
Yeah. And they lost in a game 7. It's not like they got swept. They lost in a game 7. So I don't know, man. That's an argument that I don't think KD can ever win unless he goes to New York and wins 2 straight.
So with the Knicks,
because I don't think winning one's gonna be enough because LeBron winning in Cleveland, that's another
stratosphere. They hadn't won a professional championship in 60 some years.
Yeah. So that's just something totally different.
But he might go to the Clippers though. bring one. Hey, the Clippers are a great run organization with Jerry West and Doc Rivers.
I know.
They play hard. Or I would love to see I just want somebody to go to Brooklyn. I want Brooklyn to get a little
Bro,
somebody.
I want Brooklyn to get anybody, bro. And then I was looking at this, bro, and like it's gonna sound weird, but what do you think if Kemba Walker went to the Jazz? I mean, nobody wants to live in Utah, but I'm just talking strictly basketball because Ricky Rubio is a free agent.
Yeah.
So let him walk. Get him out of there. Derek Favors, let him walk.
You put him with Donovan.
You get Kemba, because that's what they're missing. They're missing someone else who can handle the ball and score. And then they will be a problem.
They would. But I've been seeing rumblings that Kemba might consider Dallas. And at this point, I'll take what it is. I will take Kemba Walker. I will watch Kemba Walker.
I don't know how him and Luka and Kristaps would get along. Because they're all pretty ball dominant.
Yeah, but Kristaps, this contract year for him, so I feel like he'll be on his best behavior regardless. Because he wants somebody. And then Luka, I think Luka is a field of game type guy. He wants the ball, but if he can see, because Luka can shoot, so I think they could figure it out. I think Rick Carlisle is the best coach for them to figure it out. People sleep on my coach, but
yeah.
Carlisle. I bet you'd rather have Rick right now than
Oh, wait, please. Hey, I'll take it. I will take Monty Williams right now over Mike D'Antoni.
Monty finna get a job.
He is. He got hired by the Suns.
He did get hired by the Suns. I was just going to say something.
And that should tell you, just to harp back one real time on the Lakers, that should tell you where your franchise is, that a coach would choose the Phoenix Suns over you.
Phoenix. Yes. You're right.
That's unbelievable.
You're right.
But yeah, man, thanks for coming on today. We discussed a lot. We got a lot of stuff to watch tonight.
Yes.
Hopefully, by the start of the conference finals, I'll be able to get you back on the show, and then we can talk about where we go from there.
All right, let's do it.
All right, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. What do I know, fans? Next time, you know what to expect. More NBA playoff action. WNBA starts at the end of May for my women fans. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Peace.